today's lesson we'll work on our IELTS writing course and we'll move on to task 2, and in this lesson we'll work on the analysis and structure of opinion discussion essays. And the topic is, some people say that advertising is extremely successful at persuading us to buy things. Other people think that advertising is so common that we no longer pay attention to it. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Now let's just look at the basic structure. As you know, we will have our introduction, body paragraphs, and conclusion. Let's just start with introduction. And in introduction, we have to paraphrase the topic, and we have to give outline of this essay, meaning that what we will be talking about in body paragraphs, because the person who is reading your essay will not understand or will not know what the topic is, what exactly is the question there, and you have to clarify it at the end of your introduction so that they will understand exactly what to expect. For example, imagine you just give the topic, but you will not say what is the question, and they may ask or they may expect advantages and disadvantages, but you have to give problems and solutions. So you just have to clarify it in your plan, which I will do. And now let's just try to paraphrase the topic instead of some people say. So now let's just not use some advanced structures. Let's just only paraphrase some grammar structures and some words. That will be enough for our first video, and in the further lessons of opinion discussion essay, we will try to use some more advanced structures. Instead of some people say, we can say it is argued. And advertising is extremely successful. So we say advertising is considerably effective instead of extremely successful at persuading us to buy things. And as you see, I said, instead of saying some people say, I said it is argued that. And advertising is extremely successful, I said considerably effective. And I said at persuading us, I said convincing individuals to buy things, to purchase products. So as you see, I just tried to paraphrase 3-4 structures separately, and now we just have to continue. And they're saying other people think. So as you see, there's a contrast between some people think, other people think. So we have to use the connectors of contrast. For example, we can say simply however. What do you think? So as you see, I said however to contrast it, and it is considered, instead of saying some people think, I said it is considered by a different group that advertising is widespread instead of common. So to the extent, so they just said so widespread, so I just use this to the extent structure to paraphrase it, so that people mostly, so with this, instead of we, I said people, we no longer pay attention, I just said people mostly ignore it. So I just wanted to paraphrase the word advertising here, because we used it one more time. So I just say this phenomenon. So as you see, this is simple paraphrasing, the structure part, constituted of 2 sentences. And we will continue our essay with plan now. And plan is mostly a template that you have to copy and memorize, which will help you to improve your grammar range and accuracy and less resources score, which I will write here, and you just have to memorize the structure, and you can use it for every single opinion discussion essays structures here. And structure, yes. And the structure is potential arguments in support of these both sides will be investigated in depth below. That's the plan. of our, or outline of our introduction, which we will use for every single type of opinion discussion essay, every single opinion discussion essay that we can use interchangeably. And that will be the end of our introduction, but it's not all of them. And in the next part of the video, I'll just try to explain you the importance of general background information. And now here, let's write the general information. And as you know from previous two types of essays, which are advanced, and problem solution, you need general background information to clarify the topic itself to the person who is reading your essay. Because if you just say simply, some people say advertising is good, some people say advertising is bad, or effective, not effective, they say, well, I don't understand the topic itself, what are you talking about? So you just have to introduce, well, the topic is mostly advertising, you just have to introduce the topic itself in this situation, which will give them the basic information or basic knowledge about the topic itself, which will make it easier for them to comprehend and understand your essay, which will give you a higher score from task achievement mostly. So let's just try to write general background information here. I'll just write it down there, and erasing everything, I'll just try to give 3 more background information for other topics. And the first one is and as you see, I wrote advertisements have become an integral. So I will just leave you information. Team, you just have to put some topic there. If I'm not editing this video myself, you just ask from me, I'll just do it myself. And here we have to put the information about general background information. And the first sentence of your introduction should give you some information about the topic. Importantly, you have to explain why this topic is important. For example, the topic is advertisement or advertising in our case, and I just said integral part and an unavoidable part, because you cannot avoid it. It's just everywhere, and I just said this information of every person's or each person's life. I made a mistake here. Apostrophe, I left apostrophe. Every person's life. That will be a clear illustration of what we're going to talk about to the person who is watching or who's reading this essay, and it will be clearer for them. So as you see, this sentence should come at the beginning of the sentence, and this sentence should be the first sentence of our essay. This will be general background information, and that will be the end of our introduction. As you see, we'll have 3 sentences. First, paraphrase the topic, then give your plan, which means outline, and if possible, give general background information, which is totally optional. Meaning, if you want to give it. It will be good for your band score. But if you don't want to give, you don't have to give it, which will not damage your overall band score. So it's potentially useful here only. So now, if you understand the introduction, we will move on to body paragraph structure of our essay here. And now, if you have understood the introduction of the opinion discussion structure, essay structure, we will move on to body paragraphs. And the basic structure of body paragraphs is the same, and the structure is and so here, as you see, I wrote body paragraph, first argument, discussion, explain part, examples. Well, you have to first give your first argument, and you have to discuss it and explain it at length as much as possible, and then you have to give examples which are totally, completely optional. And in this part, as you see, we have, well, 3 main parts of body paragraph, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to write 3 sentences. It can be 4, 5, 10, up to 10 sentences, but it will be mostly 3 main parts here. And one more thing is, in body paragraphs, you don't have any restriction on how many body paragraphs should you have. You may have 4 body paragraphs, you may have 2 body paragraphs, and here we try to adopt 4 body paragraph structure, 1 body paragraph for each, And so we will write 4 body paragraphs. This was the first body paragraph. Well, actually, this was a basic structure for our body paragraphs, and now we have to come up with ideas for the topic so that we'll be able to write our body paragraph and argue about it at length. So let's just try to find arguments for this, and first view and second view. And in this part, as you see, we have to write what do we think, like do we agree or disagree, and why, and we have to give arguments. For example, first one is very effective. Why? Because it may be personalized. Personalized, meaning that, well, you just Google ads, whatever, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, they all show you the products that you may want, that you may need, because they just watch you, accept your data, and observe you, and they just tailor the advertisement and ads only for your own needs. As a result, it becomes personalized, which will increase your possibility of liking this product that is being advertised and buy it. And the next one is well, emotional buttons, emotional manipulation. We can write emotional manipulation, meaning that, well, they just use mostly your data again, and when you're emotional, they just try to use you. For example, imagine in Facebook, your mom's birthday is coming, and then they know it, and they just try to show you only things that are well tailored for a present, for a birthday, or they just try to create some kind of arts that are very emotional, that will make you make hasty decisions and decisions that without any thinking involved in it, and this will lead you to becoming emotional and taking some action because of mostly emotion, not reason or logic. Well, these are 2 arguments. We need to actually, as you know, we have to write 2 arguments. This is optimal number. We can write 3 or up to 4 arguments, but it will not be a perfect ideal for our body paragraph, because as you know, we have to give them at length. If you write 4 arguments, and it means that 4 supportive arguments for each side, it means that it's 8 arguments. You have to write 250 words, up to 350 words, and you will not be able to discuss every single argument at length, in depth, and it will not. It will affect your task achievement score negatively. So that's why the 2 argument structure is optimal, because it will allow you to write 50 words or 50 plus words for each, which will guarantee that you will explain it, discuss it properly with good arguments, so that it will be persuasive. So now in the next part, arguments against the advertisement that it's ineffective is. So we just talk about pervasiveness first. Pervasiveness. Well, we can just only buy so much stuff, because look, we may have capacity for $200, but they are used to advertise like $300 worth of products overall, but now it's 3,000, meaning that there are way more ads that than it was before. So the reason of ineffectiveness is, first of all, pervasiveness. They're competing against each other. It's like bloody ocean strategy, as you know, like there's a bloody ocean, meaning that they're just competing against each other for our money, and effectiveness of each advertisement drops by new ad being created. This is the first reason why it's not the case that we are buying it and it's effective. And it may be second, maybe we may have some kind of immunity, developed immunity maybe. This argument is against our emotional manipulation argument, as you see, but I didn't have any other ideas here. I just had to, or decided to write this one. If I have ideas, I'll try to add this in further parts of our essay. And developing immunity means that we have been immersed in this kind of arts for so long that we just developed immunity and we are immune to it. We will not get affected by such ads. And these are two arguments for and two arguments against, or two two arguments in support of first and second views. And now, if you understood everything, we will move on to writing our body paragraph. Now, if everything is clear, if our discussion part was clear, let's move on to body paragraphs. And as you know, we have to start, if you have watched previous videos on advanced advantage and problem solution, we have to start our body paragraph with starting structure, introductory structure. And I'll just write this introductory structure here, and you will have to learn this, memorize it, and use it in all types of opinion discussion essays that you can use, that you can write, and this will fit for all, mostly virtually all topics that will be covered in your IELTS writing opinion discussion essay. And the first structure is here. And as you see, use the classic structure that we use for our opinions, or for our problem solution and agreed advanced advantage essay. And I said there is possible underlying reasons behind. So there are arguments, right? Underlying reasons behind the first mode of thinking. Or I could simply say underlying reasons why, and just give the first opinion. Meaning that I could simply say possible underlying reasons why advertisement or advertising is so effective. Yes, and I will just write continue this part. So as you see, I just use this structure, which will be universal for all essays, because we just say behind the first mode of thinking, or you can simply change the word, replace the word first with former, which will make it better mode of thinking. And I said one of the most prominent and persuasive ones. By the word ones, I'm just saying that it's underlying reason. I'm using the structure was called, what was it called? I just don't remember it now. Wow, I just don't remember. So I'm just by ones. I'm just it just means that I'm talking about reasons, and I just don't want to repeat this structure again. So what was it called? I don't remember. So just the ones is called, like, is meant by reasons here would probably be, and the reason why I use the structure would probably be, as you know, is tentative language here, because we talked about tentative language in previous lessons. You have to watch these lessons if you don't know what is this thing. And basically this is showing the language of probability, not certainty. You have to avoid the structures and words of certainty, and instead of this you have to use the words of probability, such as like modal verbs like maybe, could be, can be, and others. And as you see, this is the basic structures that we have to use always, that we can use always. You just don't have to do anything, because you can do anything you want, but this structure will give you higher leverage, because this has good grammar structure here. Instead of turning, we could say if we turn. And as you see, this is participle clause, and there are good grammar structures, vocabulary structures, and it will help you. And after this, what we have to do is we just give the first part or first argument, which is personalized ads. Well, we just say accent of personalized ads, or appearance of personalized ads, or dominance of personalized ads. We just have to talk about it. Would probably be so. As you see, I said advent of personalized advertisements, meaning that there are more personalized advertisements in the market. That's why it is becoming effective, or it is effective. As you see, we just wrote only personalized, but if you say would probably be personalized, it will not be clear. So you just have to clarify your opinion with more details. And then after you give your first argument, you have to discuss it and you have to explain what do you mean by the advent of personalized advertisement. Now we talk about social media, all the websites that gather our data and will sell this data to companies so that these companies can give us whatever we want, exactly whatever the product which is exactly necessary for us. And now we just continue with discussion. I just say penetration of internet. And as you see, I just wrote, it's very complex sentence, I can say, because this is the beginning of the sentence and this is the end of the sentence. It's just only one sentence. I just didn't want to divide the sentences into parts, but I will explain this into dividing into parts now, which will be easier for you to understand the sentence. And here I wrote penetration of the internet into each person's life. So this means internet. Well, we got immersed into the internet when we're spending most of our time on the internet, on the net, so that this is the meaning behind the word penetration, because this is like internet is our life now. You're watching this video on the internet, so you can just see that this is reality here. And this is the first part of the sentence, or we can just make it first sentence, penetration of the internet into each person's life. Well, we can simply say internet penetrated into each person's life. And then this is the next sentence. This is the next meaning here, next step in our discussion part. This allowed widely used sites to gather personal data of individuals. And this is the second meaning and second basic idea here. Well, this fact that we're using internet means that there are widely used websites, and the websites gather or collect our personal data, and that's it, and sell it to companies. That's another part. Well, they just gather it and they just sell it. So 1, 2, 3 ideas here, and companies which want to promote their products. So this is there are companies that want to buy or that want to sell their products. This is the first idea here, and which created a symbiotic relationship between sides. Meaning, symbiotic relationship means that it's not detrimental for one side and beneficial for another side. It's beneficial for all sides, and I explained it there. So this is our first idea here, and second one here, third, fourth, fifth, and the last one is 6. Benefiting on one side, each side in its own way. And I'll just could explain it in more detail, but I'll give it in my example section. And as you see, I used benefiting here, participle clause, good grammar structure, each side in its own way. I'll just explain. Well, meaning, well, internet websites get money, companies buy products, sell products, and we buy products that we want, exactly. So here again I use relative clause, which is good structure. Again, relative clause, which is good structure. Well, actually, this is good discussion part of our essay. I hope you understood, and if you didn't understand, I'll try to explain it in additional videos there. And now, after giving argument and discussion part, what we have to do is we can give example, which is really optional, and we can simply say, we talked about examples in previous essays, mostly probably I think in problem solution, as I just explained what kind of examples you can use and what kind of examples you're not allowed to use. I will not repeat this information. You just go back to the video and just watch it. And in this part, I'll just give example. I can just simply say, for example, but I don't want to do this. I just want to use different structure. As you see here, our example part, which we gave here. So as you see, I just said, the way monopolistic internet conglomerates such as Google and Facebook work, the way they work can be a stark illustration of above mentioned point. And as you see, I just used the work of Google and Facebook as an example here, and I hope it was clear. Well, I just didn't say what exactly they do, but this is a clear example of the points that we made in our discussion part. And this will be at the end of our first body paragraph, and in the next part of the essay I just don't write every single part with discussion example. I'll just give you the beginning structure for our body paragraph 2, 3 and 4, and it will be the end of our video and in our lesson here, because in our lesson, today's lesson, we mainly focus on this structure, basic structure of our opinion discussion essay. In next videos, we will try to dissect one topic clearly with all the parts being described, and it will be like around 1 hour or more than that of a video, and you will be able to read and watch how the essay can be formed. But in today's lesson, we'll mainly focus on the structure itself. Well, this was the end of our body paragraph 1. We'll move on to body paragraph 2, 3, 4, 10. This is the main part, main structure. This is example. This is introductory structure, first argument, discussion and example of it. These are our topics. Now I will just erase everything and we just only work on the basic structure that we need for our task body paragraph 2, 3 and 4. Now if you have understood everything about the body paragraph 1, let's move on to body paragraph 2, 3, 4 structures, and we will only look at the introductory structure of body paragraph 2, 3 and 4. And structure is: so this is a structure for body paragraph 2, meaning that second argument of the second argument that supports our first opinion, first view, and here which is linked to, well, which is introduced. Well, we used the conjunction of linking words, moreover, and just said further, equally significant. So this is a structure, template that you have to use, that you can use a further equally significant argument in favor of this hypothesis maybe, and you just give your second argument, and then after this part you have to give your body paragraph 3. And in body paragraph 3, what you have to do is you have to give second view and first argument that supports second view. You just say however, or moving on to. Let's just use moving on to. Well, as you see, I just moved to the next part. I transitioned to the next part using moving on to, and I said moving on to the reasons why, and you just give your topic. Why? In our case, it is advertisement is no longer effective. You just say moving on to the reasons why advertising is no longer effective. You just give your whatever topic it is, could be, and then you just continue. This is well, look, moving on to the reasons why the fact that advertisement is no longer effective could be a reasonable concept. The most well, we just have to put comma here because it will confuse you. Reasons why something could be reasonable concept. The most crucial one might be, I just say, And after this, as you see, I just have to use tentative language here, which is really important. And then I just have to, I'll just underline this so that you can use it in your essays. And I just give my first argument in support of the second view. And in the next part, I have to give my second argument in support of the second view. So it will be body paragraph 4. And now let's continue body paragraph 4. And we start body paragraph 4 with the word furthermore. As you see, you just copy the structure that we use for task 1 and I just said furthermore to link, and then just said another argument which is worth mentioning maybe. So I just use relative clause here and this good structure here, and that will be the second body paragraph, which will make an end to your body paragraphs, after which we will have to write conclusion, which is in Stern template, which we will have to just write, and you'll just copy paste this template, and that will be it. So now let's just move on to summary. I hope I will be able to put this, well, fill this conclusion part in this part. So we'll see, we'll have a look. And now if everything is clear with body paragraphs, let's move on to conclusion. In conclusion, you just have to give your opinion. So let me just give the basic structure. So conclusion is your opinion plus arguments. Let's write it. Let's try to give it together, and it's just a template that you have to copy. That's it. It's nothing wrong, and there's nothing hard in that. Well, here there are debates, like you can just write anything here as a way of conclusion, in conclusion, to conclude, to sum up, like it doesn't matter. You just have to give, it doesn't give you any considerable improvement in your let's score resources or whatever overall band score. That's why you just have to just simply use in conclusion, and it will waste the least amount of time. And in conclusion, you just say, and as you see, the structure is a template that you can use anywhere, which is your conclusion here. So I just said in conclusion, the former or the latter, meaning that the first or the second point of view would appear to be, I just use here, instead of saying I think, I said would appear to be. So it's the impersonal way of describing information, showing the opinion of yours would appear to be a rather more sensible way of thinking. So I didn't say better. So you cannot say what, you cannot give the words good, better, or bad. So I just use the main idea, the same idea, but I just said a rather more sensible way of thinking. And I just here I used, I just gave the reasons. I didn't say this is because of. I just said due to. I could simply say owing to. Owing to. Well, several logical arguments, and such as you just give your first and second arguments here, which are in my case, well, if I agree with the former viewpoint, they will be personalization of ads, so I just use ads so that I could just fit this word here, because, well, we don't have any more space left. You just have to use the formal version of this word. It's informal, quite informal. You just have to say advertisement, the personalization of advertisement, and second argument in our case was manipulation of emotions, and I wrote it there. So if this was the end of our opinion discussion essay, body paragraph and conclusion, which is mostly a template structure. I think that most people will have difficulty understanding the structure. So, well, therefore, we just in the later part of our video course, we will choose one topic and we'll just write full essay, and we'll just present you how to give these essays and how to give you these structures. And I hope you don't have any questions, no misunderstandings or trouble with understanding. And that will be the end of our opinion discussion essay structure and analysis. See you in the next lessons.